Let's talk about why I'm not married and why I haven't got a partner.
Yes, let's talk about why she's not married and why she hasn't got a partner. This is wonderful. I can't wait to talk about why you haven't got a partner and why you're not married. Let's have a look.
This has got to be the question I'm asked most in life because I've been single such a long time. I was calculating it yesterday, so I've been dating since I was around 15, so that's 46 years, and out of them 46 years I've probably been single 28 of them. Now there's a reason for that.
Here we go.
I
There's
got
always
married
a
to my
reason for
first
that.
husband. I was really in love with him, but I felt like I was a co-star in my own life and a bit of a slave.
So
I had
watching
3
GMTV all
children
morning
very
was
quickly,
slavery. Not going to
within
work was
3
being
or
a
4
slave.
years. And yeah, it was a different time. But I was left to do all the childcare, all the housework, all the organising.
Well, your husband's at work,
And my
so
first
if he
husband
can't do
was
it, who the
kind of
hell's
man
going to
that
do it?
really liked being taken care of himself.
Okay, so let me get this right. She decided to have 3 kids. She made a choice to have 3 kids. She was married, and she also thought once she'd had 3 kids and not working, while the husband's probably working, paying for these 3 kids, she became a slave by having to look after the kids, take them to school, do the housework, stuff like that. But that's what comes with having kids. Somebody's got to pay the bills. So you saying your husband was, taking care of himself, he had to go to work and provide money for you to do that. You can't just stay at home for nothing, you know? So it's deluded to think that, she's got the right to, stay at home and everything's free. There's no paying bills. I've just got to, put out now and again and that's it. There's no appreciation. She believes she's a slave.
Anyway, I stayed with him for years and years and years, and due to circumstances beyond my control, I had to make a decision of whether to concentrate and raise my children or whether to stay and live a life of being taken for granted. So I chose option A. Then I went on to raise my children by myself.
Right, stop right there. First of all, she didn't go on to raise her children by herself. This is where women are deluded and believe that they are the ones that are providing everything else. She didn't go on to raise her children by herself. What she did is go on to the government welfare system. Either she got a council house by herself or the man moved out and she stayed in that house and that man had to pay her on top of the government paying her every week and every month. These women believe that they've done it by themselves. They've done nothing by themselves. No woman raises a child by herself. They're totally deluded. What she's got is the option, because the government gives it her, is the option to be totally useless, can stay at home, do whatever she wants. The government will pay the rent. The government will pay for the groceries, everything else. And you can absolutely be a useless piece of space and the government will help you. She didn't go on to raise them children by herself. She has been helped since day one, and even though leaving her husband, she's still helped now. As well, the husband won't be helped, he has to pay for it. So she's chose to become slave-free, so she says, but she is not helping them children, and she is not looking after them children by herself. She's living in a fantasy world. And it's only when they get older and the children leave that they realise, bang, the government shuts the door then. So does the man. He doesn't pay anymore. And then you know how it really is. And this is what the deluded woman sees. She just sees it that she's, an independent woman and I'm looking after kids. No. The council give her the house, the council pay her bills, the man pays the bills, and she's looked after until that child leaves college or university. And then after that, game over.
And very many years later, I met husband number 2.
You can't make this shit up.
Husband number 2, he was all right. I don't know what was going on inside of his mind, but he wanted me to get married. So after begging us for a year or so.
Hang on, so husband number 2 was begging to get married. Begging. Okay.
So
we'll believe you.
Since then, I've had quite a few different relationships.
Which basically means, fellas, she's had enough cock to make her handrail up the stairs.
I just can't deal with living in the same house as a man. I just can't do it. It's too hard. Uh, now that the children have grown up, I just want to do whatever I want to do. I don't want to have to consider someone else. I'm not saying I'm not open to love, because I am. But love from afar, not love within the same four walls. Anyway, I have dated on and off over the years, but it gets to a certain point where I feel invisible or I feel taken for granted, so I'm away. I'm away. I will talk about it, I will discuss it, but if I'm not heard, I'm off.
No,
So,
please come back.
when I do
Please come
date,
back.
which is sometimes,
You're all I ever wanted.
I'm doing it for the sake of dating and because I enjoy male company. But there's no way I'm looking at them and thinking, well, we're going to get married and live in the same house together.
You've
There
been married
isn't
twice.
an
There's no marriage
absolute
for you
chance
now at your
in
age.
this
Forget
world
it.
I will share my space with a man. No. Now, don't hate men. I really like men. But do I want to share my space with them? Do I want a grumpy old bugger around me house? Do I want someone whinging about work? Do I
Whinging
want
about work.
someone
Oh my
who
goodness.
thinks it's the entitlement to be looked after by a female? No.
No, we don't want to be looked
However,
after by a
if I
female,
found
but what we
someone
don't want to settle for is
did the
3 holes
opposite
and a
to
bit
all
of
them
company.
things, I would jump
Because
at
apart
that
from
chance
that, you
to
bring
find
nothing
love
but headache.
and share my life with somebody. But there is no way they're getting in my house.
If she doesn't want to live with a man, that's her choice, okay? But let's be clear. The only reason that she's got a house in the first place is because she kept the kids, which women always do. I bet she's not skilled. I don't know this, but I bet she's not. She's been brought up by the government and by the state and by handouts all the way. She might work now as a Tesco or something like that as a bit of a job, but apart from that, she would have done nothing major. I can just tell, right? Now then, men, listen, this is what you're going to get when you're older looking back at you. Somebody who's just so ungrateful and doesn't need you and doesn't want you. This is it. So I'm saying to you, never get married, never settle for these women, and never give them what they want. Because when they marry you, they hold a gun to your head and they can blow it off any second. And eventually, they all end up like this. All she's going to get now in her later life is cats. That's it. And that's not just being funny. Nobody's going to marry this. 2 husbands, fucking nightmare, and you want me to go on a date and listen to this dribble? Forget it. We're done.